Hello folks, it is day 22 of my big end of year push. Thank you so much for joining me and continuing with me on this journey. If, however, you have only just come across this video, please check back on all of the others that have come before it. December has been absolutely packed full of crafting and modelling and things like that, and we've still got a couple of days left, and there's always after Christmas and between New Year. So please, if you enjoy this kind of thing, tickle the subscribe button, hit like, get notifications. There's going to be more coming. But it is that big push, and I do want to get straight on into it. Chimera troop transport. Number 2, the plaza, which is just here. You can see it in the background, stacked up, waiting for those pens. And then it's that big repair project. Let's be about it. Right. Chimera troop transport, last couple of coats of paint and this is going to be complete. Now, first thing I need is some rust effects, and this is another stipple coat. I've already got me raggy bit of sponge here, and I'll just make sure that I don't have too much on the sponge. And in these areas where it's sort of like metallic, I'm just going to get some of that on there. For those of you who are new to the channel, depending on how I want to do my rust, these next 2 coats are interchangeable in sort of like the order in which I do them. If it's sort of older rust, then I'll do the orange colour first and then I follow it up with a brown. You'll see that in just a second. If it is, however, sort of newer rust, then I'll do the brown first and then the orange. Just make sure I've got that actually in shot. Maybe it's a wee bit much on that bit. Yeah, spread it about a bit. So I'll crack on with this and we'll check back for the second colour in just a few seconds. And then final stipple coat colour is a darker brown. Get a bit of that on. And for this one, it is kind of going over those same orange areas just to make that rust look older. Okay, with the weathering all done, now it is time to just do a bit of the more sort of fine detail and go back over it, get it a wee bit more lifelike. So I'm undercoating the weapons here in black, and they are going to be getting a gunmetal dry brush. Even with just that black on, these are starting to look far better, but let us finish it off with a quick dry brush of gunmetal on all of those weapons. Not forgetting, of course, just to do a quick bit of touch up on those tracks where I had that sort of overspill with the red when I was dabbing that on. And then we are back to Blood Angel's Red and just doing sort of like the, I don't know, I guess you would call it the plate metal on the guns. And it is final coat of paint time. And it's just washes to dull things down. For these guard weapons coming out the side, it's the same flesh wash that I used on the guardsman. And I'm doing that basically just to tie sort of like the colouring together so that there's not a sort of brighter one anyway, so it all looks uniform between the troops and the transport. And that's those done. And then the last one, the stinky one, is some of that oil wash, and that's just for the actual vehicle mounted guns, just to get the colouring on that knocked back to the same kind of shade that the rest of it was. And that is one Blood Pact Chimera done and ready for the battlefield. Well, that's busy drying and waiting to go on the pile of success. Yay! Or rather my good lady wife, because I couldn't find the original ones, has gone and bought me some more fine liners, and let's give them a try on these test pieces and see what the result is. Not particularly brilliant. They do not appear to want to go onto a gloss acrylic paint. Let's see what it's like on one of those grooves. Not as such. Okay. In that case, I think it could well be trying out the Citadel ink and seeing what happens. Luckily, I do have my Citadel ink quite close to hand, so I get the feeling the chances are this is going to be a bit too thick, but we can but try. Yeah, it's doing it, but yeah, I'm going to wash that off. It doesn't have the right flow for it. Alright folks, I have teased this big repair project for long enough. You've obviously seen the last couple of days I have been sorting out a Blood Pact force, and let's face it, if you're talking about a Blood Pact force, there can be only one opposition. The first and only, Gaunt's Ghosts. I'll go get them. Sitting in that foam packing, languishing due to transit damage, I'll drag them out. Here they are, 4 trays of them, and in various states of repair. Broken sword, chipped paint, need a refresh. That's the man himself. Ezra Apnit, missing an arm. So yeah, this is what I have to go through miniature by miniature and sort out. Awful lot of named characters, an awful lot that I've forgotten that are named characters. I'm going to have to go through and reread the books. That's going to be a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. No, I'll enjoy it. But yeah, as I say, load of named characters from all through the books. Let's face it, at the end of the day, the Ghosts are probably the most documented Imperial Guard regiment that there is, and I have an army of them. Pretty much every miniature, apart from official Gaunt's Ghosts figures, and there weren't that many of them at the time, have been converted in some way, shape or form. Different weaponry, head swaps, cloaks obviously, but what I am going to start on tonight is the armour. Narmenian? Was it Narmenian armour? Grismond? Okay, so yeah, a few little things. Missing studs on the extra armour plates. So I'll tackle the armour tonight, and then I'll go and do an inventory of what is okay and what is not on the infantry, probably tomorrow, and see just how big a task it is. Alright, let's get on with it. And this first one is, well, essentially non-canonical. I'll be perfectly honest, I cannot realistically recall any point in the Gaunt's Ghosts books where they talk about sentinels, but I did have some. I wanted to include them, and the only place that they would fit was going to be as scout runners for the first Narmenians. So, unit of 3, for some reason I thought they were all armed with autocannons, but it's 2 autocannon, 1 las cannon. Now that I think back, it's entirely possible it's because I only had 2 autocannons and didn't particularly want anything kind of anti-infantry, because at the end of the day it's an anti-armor unit. I wanted the autocannons because at the end of the day Imperial Guard don't have the best to hit rolls. Autocannon have more shots per turn, whereas a las cannon has better armor penetration, but you only get the one of them. So I was perfectly happy to trade off a little bit of armor penetration for more chances to actually hit. Plus, autocannon are not too bad against flyers, and if I recall correctly, that was round about the advent of flyers being introduced into the game, so that was the reason why these were autocannon armed. So, quick check. This one appears to be fine. No issues with that. Couple of spider webs on. It just needs a clean up. This one, okay, the armor plating on top is starting to lift, so that does need a repair. Oh yeah, with them being an armored brigade, I went for the heavier armor version rather than the open top version on these. This one is the one that's in the worst state of repair. Leg has come off at the top, and again the top of the armor plating is lifting there. Oh, and the decal's lifting as well. Ooh, right, that's something to check for. They appear okay, that one appears okay. I'll sort this one first. Very easy repair job on that. Let's just get a wee bit of super glue on the end of a stick, lift that up, run it about the place and press it back down. Alright, that's good to go. I'm going to move this one out of the way because that is not a repair job, so it does not count towards the pile of success. Same deal with this one. Okay. Now the plate on this one has actually warped a little bit, so I'm going to have to glue it on both sides. Just make sure that is stuck down firmly first, and I'll leave that a little bit to set properly before I go for the other side. While I'm doing that, I may as well sort this joint here, make that back in, and then clamp that top back down, and that is back battlefield ready. Alright, excellent. Tomorrow it is a check over of the Leman Russ and the Basilisk for the Narmenians, and then I've also got to do that full inventory of all of the damaged ones in the infantry platoons, and yeah, that's the one where I'm likely to get the most upset. But they're underway. Finally, it's been too long. I have been diligently doing little odds and ends on the TTCombat plaza set, and this sort of center clear ornament bit is now done. I was not happy. The amount of times this fell apart while I was trying to construct it, I would need more than one hand to count on. TTCombat, the fact that there are no instructions for this set apart from some pictures is just diabolical. I ended up having to use super glue because polystyrene cement did not work. It was not holding it. I dropped it at one point and pretty much every piece just fell off. It didn't break, it just came apart. For an amateur modeler, or sorry, for a less than skilled modeler, you should have had some words. Would it kill you? I mean, ChatGPT can do most of it for you, and it can translate into other languages, for crying out loud. It is the big thing on these kits that I would mark TTCombat down for. It is just diabolically slack. Anyway, that is done. It is not the cleanest job I've ever had to do. Yeah, I mean, you can at least get away with it at a distance. You can certainly see areas where I've kind of had to drag it through super glue there, and I know it's there, and it does sort of just detract from the model, quite frankly. Alright, I will get on with trying to line the other parts of the plaza, and hopefully I'll be able to get that done by the end of the night. Well, it has been a well-productive day. Chimera troop transporter, done. The plaza, done. I didn't show it on camera, but using a satin finish paint, which these were rather than a gloss, those fine liners work perfectly well. So that is 6 pieces of terrain to go onto the pile of success.
That still only counts as 1!
And using the pencil, I managed to complete another one of those packing cases. But of course the big reveal was the damaged army, and there are 2 sentinels that go onto the pile of success for the Narmenian First Armoured allies of the Tanith First and Only. And I have to be getting on with the troops tomorrow, even though there's work to do on the Narmenian Leman Russ tanks. I know that much. I'm quite chuffed with today. I'll be honest with you, 2 more days to go before Christmas. Still a load to do, but the pile of success is only going to get larger from this point in. I will leave you good folk with this for this evening. Toodle pip for now.